Welcome to SicEm365 Radio.
Well, it's a luxury, but us coaches know that there is no safe lead in the Big 12. You look the other night, West Virginia, Oklahoma State, what was it, 19 points with 11 minutes to go. And, I mean, we've had big leads and lost them, and we've been down big and come back.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
I'm definitely going to take it one game at a time. I'll keep you updated on that. But my teammates have done a great job ever since I came back at encouraging me. My coaches have always stayed on me and told me to just go out there and just enjoy and have fun, and the rest will take care of itself. So I have to give credit to all my teammates and my coaches.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
You can definitely see in his game he's taking steps forward, and that mental part is a big reason for that. Putting in the time, working on the right things, feeling more comfortable in what he needs to do. So all those above.
Now, here's David Smoak and Craig Smoak.
Paul Catalina is out today. He'll be back with us tomorrow. Good afternoon, SicEm365 Radio. Craig Smoak with me today on SicEm365 Radio. Jack is back. It's been a while. He's had the holidays, and Armstrong Sims, of course, running the mothership. Jack is back with us. Jack, good to see you. Hope you've had a good break. We've got all sorts of things to get to. Last night, Baylor offensive line coach was, no longer the Baylor offensive line coach. We'll get into that. Also, I have a feeling, just based on what we're learning, that it's just a matter of imminent when Baylor will have a new offensive line coach, because you always have those in the pipeline, and we hope maybe even to have that story before the end of the show today. We do have some of the guests that are lined up today, and we will, again, get to all of that. 254-339-1122, that is the number for the text line, brought to you by Riverbend Liquor and Wine. The chat room on SicEm365.com Premium, brought to you by Willis Law Firm. We have some audio clips from Scott Drew, Adam Flagler, and Matthew Meyer. Joe DeLamielleure, he's a Hall of Fame offensive lineman, played with the Buffalo Bills in the 70s. He was a part of that offensive line that helped block for O.J. Simpson when he made that run over 2,000 yards. They had Reggie McKenzie, among others. He will join us today at 3:30, along with B.J. Ganem, who's a wounded warrior. He's a veteran who had a leg blown off. He's a part of the Wounded Warrior Foundation. He'll join us. They'll both join us today at 3:30. And then Mickey Spagnola, Sam Bradshaw at 5, and then also Reggie Samples, head football coach at Duncanville, as they play in the semifinals. He'll join us as well. So, Craig, it looked like Dave Aranda had his staff all tied up, ready to go. The Ryan Pugh hire was a popular hire, and then yesterday evening, everything popped that he is no longer the offensive line coach.
Yeah, it did, and he's not, and he won't be at Baylor. And I mean, we talked at length about all the changes that have been made, and this staff, and being excited about this staff, and then that pops out, and it's very clear to see why. And it wasn't hard to see why they made the decision that they did. It was nothing but a Google search is all it really took, quite frankly, to figure out the reason for why Ryan Pugh might not be of interest any longer for Dave Aranda and his staff. And, really at any time, but especially at a time like this, I think you can ill afford to, bring in somebody who may cause some problems for you because of something they did in their past. And that was the case for Ryan Pugh, and maybe there was more to it than that, but, I mean, that was bottom line what it was. For those that don't know, there was a picture of him from years ago.
12 years ago.
From 12 years ago, he and a friend, I don't know if it was a girlfriend, a girl that was a friend, whatever, they dressed up as Reggie Bush and Kim Kardashian, so that should tell you how long ago that was, because they did not date anytime here recently, but they dressed up as them. He had blackface on, and that's a no-no. And that was something that got on their radar. And I actually saw a couple people when they saw the news break, because a lot of people were scratching their heads going like, wait, what is going on? And I saw a couple people go, oh, did the picture come back? So it was in some circles, and that's come back to bite him. So now they're searching for a new O-line coach. But like you said, it doesn't seem like it's going to take very long to find that guy.
Yeah, Colt Barber's been all over it. And that information of who the next offensive line coach could be imminent. You could always just look at the history of Jeff Grimes. Now, my question is this, and we won't know this perhaps until we ever get a chance to talk to Jeff Grimes. Jeff Grimes handpicked Ryan Pugh to come to him. He knew him, had been on the staff with him when he was at Auburn. He played at Auburn. And that's where Jeff Grimes was. With also the head coach was Gene Chizik. They were part of a national championship. My question is, when Baylor spoke with Jeff Grimes about the fact that his offensive line coach was no longer his offensive line coach, I'm sure Jeff Grimes maybe understood, obviously, the magnitude of what was out there, but you wonder as well, what's he thinking? Because that was his hand-picked offensive line coach. And now, again, just trace where he's been, Brigham Young. There has been speculation about their offensive line coach, Eric Mateos. And then, of course, elsewhere where he's been, whether it's Auburn or LSU or other places as well. So, the only question I have, and I understand in this day of America, but if you're 18 years old and you put up a picture that, of course, at the time may have still been offensive, when is it to a point where you are forever indebted to that picture?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It wasn't maybe, it was offensive. I mean, he's wearing blackface, so there wasn't no maybe to it. But, I know what you mean, that there's this digging up of people's history. And I know I certainly did dumb things, not that, but dumb things when I was younger that I probably wouldn't be proud of now, I guess. But, I don't know. But see, I saw one guy in particular just losing his mind over this and cancel culture and this and that. How about just maybe, and I'm totally speculating here, but how about instead of cancel culture, since most people didn't even know that this was going on, it was just a matter of maybe Dave Aranda found out about it and just didn't like it. And it was as simple as that. It wasn't some mob, outside demanding his firing or anything close to that. Maybe it was just simply a matter of when it was learned that had, been in his past, that just people weren't comfortable with it anymore. But I know what you're saying, what you did as a kid, you do dumb stuff. And, at the same time, I mean, That's pretty much what it is, though. Like, what he did is just, there's no real explanation for it. I don't know.
Here's the thing. It would be used against him.
Of course it would.
But here, he's also had jobs at like 5 other schools, including Troy. And I know now that there's no way he can go back and coach where he was at Troy. But Ryan Pugh is no longer the offensive line coach at Baylor. Baylor has moved on. Ryan Pugh, of course, paying the price for the picture when he was about 18 years old. And that's something that's an entirely different debate forever. Now Baylor has to find a replacement. They're going to find a big name. And if it's the guy from Brigham Young, then that's a great hire for them. And again, that all becomes, whenever that time comes, whoever they decide, Jeff Grimes, Dave Aranda, among others.
Yeah, I mean, it stinks, but, it's part of the deal. And we could have a conversation for hours and hours on, like, is there a matter of time to where you can, have done something that was stupid and you're different and you're not that person and you are changed from it and it shouldn't come back to haunt you, but that's not the case here. Like I said, it could have been just a matter of somebody just didn't feel comfortable with it, period. Bottom line, just said like, hey, even if he's grown and he's a new person and he's better and he's not really like that and that was all a misunderstanding, even then, that is something that when you go out on the recruiting trail and you're going after an offensive lineman, it doesn't take but 2 seconds for a Texas coach or a TCU coach or a Texas Tech coach to just pop that picture up on their phone. And so you have to take that into account as well. I don't think people should be buried for forever for mistakes that they made. But in this case, I think that Baylor made the right move.
Well, here's another thing. How the hell did they not find that out beforehand? That's the part. If you have someone that can just go through Google with most things, or that's something I'm sure Mack Rhodes and company have got to figure out. Where was the loophole there? And whoever helped, they find the coach and also get with him as well. So other schools and programs have hired him since he was 18 years old. All right, let's go to the calls. 254-339-1122. Armstrong?
Yeah, we got Steven from Virginia. Steven, you're on.
Steven, good afternoon on SicEm365 Radio. Thanks for the call.
Good afternoon, guys. I actually was really sick last night, so I missed the game and the offensive line news. Thanks for up-tempo to get me up to speed, though. I've been on record multiple times saying that Dave Aranda can't do anything wrong in my eyes because I've been so impressed with everything he does. And as much as this may put a blemish on that, I don't believe so. Because when Coach Rule came in, he brought a receivers coach who left within a month to go to Washington and another coach who had something, that was really bad as well. So these things don't really look to me as like any stop in the process. But I wanted to bring one question to y'all for fun. And I'm glad I got Craig on here because it's on Trust the Podcast. I, on game days, have a tradition since I was like 17 years old, speaking of dumb things you do when you're 17 years old, and that I would wear my bright gold Baylor sweatshirt and my bright green pants for every single game, and I would wear it all day no matter where I went. And my mom says this is standing in my way of truly finding someone who may like me. So, you all have ridiculous game day traditions, and is she right? I'll let y'all go.
Well, thank you for the call. Craig?
Appreciate it. I answered this on Trust the Podcast briefly. I said we'd probably need to see the shirt to see what was so out of whack about it. So, but I didn't. I must have glossed over the bright green pants, and now I'm a bit more understanding of why your mom may have said that. Bright green pants and the big yellow shirt. But no, I don't have much of a game day tradition. I pretty much just wear the same stuff as usual, like a hoodie and jeans or whatever. But no, I tell you, man, as a sports fan, like the whole like really rooting for my team thing's kind of gone out the window compared to most everybody else out there, just because on a Saturday I'm out covering Baylor, or typically would be out covering Baylor or waiting for Baylor to play or whatever. So I don't really get into the whole fandom thing like I used to do.
Yeah, I have a few things that I collected over the years as a fan of the teams that have been so much irrelevant for the last 15 to 25 years. I don't wear much, even during the glory years of the teams that I love. And everyone knows I've been a lifelong Nebraska fan in football and also a Washington now football team, club, franchise, organization. I've got a few things that I've collected over the years, pictures, whatever, but I rarely ever wore that even when I was like in the middle of them winning Super Bowls or national championships. I've just never done that. And part of it is because of the work I do. Everyone knows who Craig likes or I like or whatever, but part of it is also the work that I do. In fact, we even have had rules that no matter who we cover, high school football or otherwise, we don't wear like something that has their logo on it. It's just something I've always thought you wear neutral, black, gray, white, whatever. And that's not kind of what, Stephen, you're bringing up. I rarely have ever worn what I have, but I've collected a few things along the way.
Yeah, I wear team colors or something like that, throw on a T-shirt, but it's just kind of rare that I even get that opportunity.
All right, now, Baylor men's basketball. They dominate Oklahoma. Oklahoma's really good. Lon Kruger's a Hall of Fame coach. It's fantastic. That's Jordan Sperber. Is that what I said it was? Let me see. It's Hoop Vision, and his company that he started in the middle of COVID on July 19th in 2020, Jordan Sperber has moved. It's just nothing but grown. Even through the season tipping off back in the fall of last year, to the tournament being canceled, to the first Hoop Vision tutorial released, it's just continued to grow. We'll try to get him on. Great stuff by Armstrong and Jack getting that video up for us.
Yeah, that's very cool, and I imagine that's tedious work. So, yeah, commend putting that together. That's pretty cool stuff.
I agree. So if he's available, that'd be great. All right, now, Craig, James Blanchard, back to Baylor. He was at Baylor, went to Carolina, back to Baylor. I mentioned the backstory on this is that another NFL team became interested in him. Baylor then said, you know what? We're going to bring him back. And I'm telling you, that it wasn't for free. So that was a nice story that he's going to join the staff. And then the Aaron Hunt story that Colt Barber had in the premium section a couple hours ago.
Yeah, I mean, James Blanchard back is big news, and recruiting will benefit from it. The program will benefit from it as a result as well. And I think it's great. He clearly is a guy that loves evaluating and scouting and recruiting, and I'm sure he'll have his hand in all those things. I mean, that's why you bring him back, is his evaluation and scouting skills, and he certainly did a bang-up job of that. There's several players on this Baylor roster that he had a direct hand in recruiting or identifying, and I know that obviously Rule came to trust him enough that, I mean, at one point James was just a regular contributor on Sic'em365 3-4 years ago. That's where you could find his post. And that's where this last year you could still find some of his posts when he would check in from his job with the Panthers. So telling you that premium section, man. But JKB, as most affectionately refer to him as, because of the time on the boards, he'll pop in from time to time and have something to say. It's clear that he loves Baylor and has for a while. And, you know, to get a job in the NFL, that says a lot. I mean, they don't just hire anybody. So for Matt Rule to not only bring him on board just based off what he was doing with the website to, you know, then join the Baylor football department and then do a good enough job to then join the Carolina freaking Panthers with him as well, and then have all these other teams that were potentially interested in him, like you mentioned. I mean, clearly the guy's, you know, highly coveted, and there's people who appreciate what he does, and I'm just, you know, thankful that because of his history with Baylor, that Baylor's going to be where he's back and going, you know, to work on watching film and recruiting. Also today, Kellen Mond announces he's leaving for the NFL. I won't miss watching him. I really won't at A&M. I have nothing against Kellen. I think he's probably a pretty solid dude. But, yeah, I just like the Baylor thing left a bad taste in my mouth. So we saw enough of Kellen Mond the last 3 years. I'm very intrigued by, as I said earlier, how he's viewed by NFL scouts. I imagine, you know, he'll certainly be a draft pick. How high, though, is the question. And I'm interested to hear what, you know, the pro scouts' thoughts are on, you know, his game and what he'll need to do. But let me ask you this. Good player. Yeah, Sam Ehlinger's on his way out. Kellen Mond's leaving. Brewers at Utah. Which of those three fan bases are, like, upset about it? I mean, I would have to say probably A&M. Although, I mean, the thing with college fan bases is unless you have Trevor Lawrence, you're never really rooting for the backup. But if you have a Trevor Lawrence, you're not really rooting for the backup. Although even with Clemson, that's a terrible example because they got that DJ 5-star. I'll just refer to him as from now on because I can't pronounce his name off the top of my head. But, yeah, I mean, everywhere else, it's always like the next man up is always the most popular guy. So that's why we've heard Zeno chants for 2 years based on 2 passes up until the last game of the year. But, you know, it's it's probably a situation where I would think A&M would feel like pretty good if they could run it back with Mond one more time and have a full offseason. I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't. I know he could improve and be better, but Haynes King's no sure thing. I mean, we don't know that he's going to be as good as Mond right away or whoever else might be in that competition, but I think Texas fans, I think Baylor fans are the most relieved. I think Texas fans are probably the second most relieved just because, like, the same thing with Charlie and Sam's, like, we've seen him for 4 years. Like, there's no surprises coming. Like, the guy's games. And we saw Charlie Brewer max out what he could do at Baylor. There was other factors involved. And I think we maxed out what we were going to see with Sam Ehlinger at Texas. I mean, how much better was he really going to get? It's kind of, it is what it is with both of those guys. I think Mond probably would have been better if he came back for another year. But, yeah, I'd say Baylor's probably the most relieved.
I think there was some wear and tear with Mond as well.
Well, because of the off the field with him and racial justice, and a lot of Aggie fans are mad because he was part of the group that was talking about taking the statue down on campus, and that's, that's not football.
But I think there was a little bit of the football, too, although he led them to a hell of a team.
Well, that was the main reason why there was a certain portion of the fan base that did not like him.
Nalissa Smith named to the Wooden Award mid-season watch list. Great for her. They're in that, like, right now, calm time because of COVID. Boy, I hate because tonight they're supposed to be playing UConn, and they're not. All right, Armstrong and Jack. Guys, thank you very much. Picture of yourself. Come on, Armstrong, put you on the camera. You guys do two. There you go. These guys are amazing, absolutely amazing at what they do. It's an incredible group that we have here on SicEm365. Thanks to Matthew Meyer. Thanks to Adam Flagler, Scott Drew, Joe DeLamalure, BJ Ganem, Wounded Warrior, Mickey Spagnola, Sam Bradshaw, Reggie Samples, and also thanks to Cole Barber for jumping on with us as well. For Jack and for Armstrong, for Craig Smoak, Paul's back with us tomorrow. We'll have more news on the Baylor offensive line coach. Stay tuned on the Sic'em Premium section for that, or our Twitter feeds. I'm David Smoak. Thank you for listening and watching SicEm365 Radio.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to SicEm365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has been proudly serving Texans across the state for over 60 years. Call 254-772-8090 to find an agent who will provide a free review of your auto, home, and life coverage.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.